A $1.2 million retirement account can disappear in less than 10 years once a parent needs nursing care. Not because you ran out of money, but because you didn't know that Medicaid has a 60-month lookback that penalizes families who wait too long to plan. Today, I'm going to show you 3 legal structures that protect assets before the crisis hits, because by the time you're calling the ambulance, it's way too late to call the lawyer. In my 25 years in this industry, the one thing that separates families who get through elder care intact from those who lose everything isn't wealth, it's intentionality. The wealthy are intentional with their assets. So today, I'm going to show you 3 legal structures most families never hear about until it's too late. The trust that protects assets from Medicaid spend down, the income workaround when you earn too much to qualify, and the agreement that keeps family caregiving from becoming a Medicaid penalty. The care trap isn't about running out of money. It's about losing control of the money you've spent 30 years building because you didn't know that the rules had changed once a parent needs care. Let me show you what I mean. A couple comes to me. Combined retirement accounts of around $1.2 million. Paid off home worth $450. Dad, 78, showing signs of cognitive decline. Mom, 75, healthy but just exhausted. They're living on about $85,000 a year between Social Security and IRA distributions. They think they're fine. Then Dad falls, breaks his hip, and the hospital discharge planner says he needs skilled nursing care. Medicare covers 20 days fully, then requires a copay of $200 a day for days 21 through 100. After that, private pay at $10,000 to $12,000 per month. Suddenly, you're burning through $120,000 a year. At that rate, the IRA is gone in 10 years and mom still needs to live. And that's the care trap. And the families who avoid it aren't wealthier. They just structured things differently years before. Here's the technical reality most people miss. Medicaid will cover long-term nursing home care, but only after you spent down to approximately $2,000 in countable assets. Your home, it's exempt if the spouse still lives there. Your car is exempt, but the IRA, the brokerage account, both are countable. And Medicaid has a 60-month look-back period. If you transferred assets to your kids in the last 5 years, Medicaid will penalize you. The penalty is calculated by dividing the transfer amount by your state's average monthly nursing home cost. Here's a real example for you. You gift $200,000 to your daughter 3 years ago. Your state's divisor is $10,000 a month. That creates a 20-month penalty period where you're ineligible for Medicare, but you no longer have the assets to pay for care. Your family has to cover that gap out of pocket. Hey, real quick, if you're finding this helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I break down elder care and retirement planning strategies every week, and most of this stuff you won't hear anywhere else. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a free checklist that walks you through every document you need to review and the questions you need to ask your parents before the crisis hits. Be sure to stick around for that. All right, let's go back to the look-back period. Families who avoid this use an Irrevocable Medicaid Asset Protection Trust, or a MAPT. You transfer the assets into the trust, and after 60 months, they're protected from Medicaid's spend-down requirement. Now, you can still receive income from the trust if it's structured correctly, but you cannot be the trustee and you cannot revoke it. Here's the catch. If you're 78 and you fund that trust today, you're hoping to stay healthy until about 83. That's not really a plan for someone who's already showing decline. That's a plan for someone 65 to 70 years old. And that's just the asset side. Even if you protect your money, there's the income problem that catches families off guard. The second issue is income. Even if you protect your assets, most states have a monthly income limit for Medicaid eligibility. It's somewhere around $2,800 in 2026. So, if your Social Security and your pension push you over that, you're ineligible. But there's a solution. A qualified income trust, or Miller Trust. You deposit excess income into the trust each month. It doesn't count towards Medicaid's income limit, but it must be used for care costs. You can't accumulate it or redirect it. Most families learn about a Miller Trust from the Medicaid caseworker only after they've been denied. The families who avoid this trap set it up proactively before the application. Now, let's talk about your home. For most clients I work with, the home represents 30 to 40% of their entire net worth. Medicaid doesn't count it as an asset if the spouse lives there or if you intend to return home. But here's what they don't tell you. After you pass, the Medicaid estate recovery will file a claim against your estate and recoup whatever they paid you in care. So if your home was worth about $450,000 and Medicaid paid $300,000 for 3 years of nursing care, they'll take the $300,000 from your estate before the kids inherit anything. Families who plan ahead transfer the home to an irrevocable trust outside of the 60-month lookback, or they use a life estate deed where they can retain the right to live there, but the remainder of the interest passes to your children. This removes the home from estate recovery, but it has to be done correctly to avoid gift tax issues. Now, there's a third strategy that most families miss completely, and it's the one that actually preserves family relationships during the hardest season of caregiving. Here's the third strategy most people miss. It's the caregiver agreement. If your daughter is going to reduce their work hours or quit her job to care for you, formalize it. Draft a written contract that specifies the hourly compensation, usually $20 to $35 an hour, depending upon your region, and pays it to you as W-2 income. Medicaid allows payment for care services, but only if there's a written agreement executed before care begins and the compensation is at fair market value. So just writing a check to your daughter saying, helping out, Medicare is going to treat that as a disqualifying transfer during the look-back period. The caregiver agreement does three things. It compensates family fairly, it creates a Medicaid-compliant payment process, and it removes the financial resentment that destroys families during caregiving. But that agreement must be in place before care starts, and the income must be reported. So if it doesn't file tax on it, Medicaid will disallow the payment. Here's what you need to understand. None of these strategies work in a crisis mode. The care trap isn't about lack of money, it's about lack of structure. And structure, it requires time. The families I work with who navigate elder care without losing their retirement have these three things in common. They started the conversation early. They formalized everything in writing. And they worked with advisors who understood both tax law and Medicaid rules. So if your parents are in their late 60s or early 70s, you're in the planning window. If you're over 75 and you haven't had the conversation yet, you're running out of time. And if you're over 80 and showing some signs of decline, your options have narrowed significantly. The care trap is avoidable. I put together a planning checklist, the one I mentioned earlier. It walks you through the exact questions you need to ask your parents and the documents you need to review before a health crisis hits. It's called the What Issues Should I Consider for My Aging Parents? And you can download it free using the link in the description below. If your parents are over 70 and you want to map out a specific strategy for your family situation, you can schedule a consultation with me. That link is also down in the description. Hey, if this was helpful, go ahead and hit the like button. It tells YouTube to share this with more families who need to see it. Now that we've talked about Medicaid planning, there's another trap that catches even more families, and I discuss it over in my Medicaid playlist. You can catch it right over here. I break down exactly how to avoid those traps. I'm Tim Gardner, founder of Chatham Wealth Management, and I'll see you in the next video.